Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Constance the Reader, and today we're going to be doing a recent reads video. So first of all, if I have a lot of glare on my glasses, please forgive me. I'm trying out a new lighting setup because it is very dark and gloomy today in Virginia, and I don't want the color to be bad. So if you see like a crazy anime glare across my glasses, you know, like they do like that, forgive me. But yeah, we're going to talk about everything I've read so far in the month of November. I've read a lot of manga, so that is primarily why I'm doing this wrap up. I've read 2 of the books that I wanted to read for nonfiction November. I'm making my way through another book, so I'm actually on track. I'm doing a pretty good job with reading what I said I was going to read. I want to incorporate some other regular books in my reading for this month. But we're going to talk about everything I've read so far because it would be way too long at the end of this month. I'm going to start with the regular books first because it's like 2, and then we're going to get into manga. So if you care about everything, watch everything. If you only care about one or the other, watch one or the other. Whatever suits you. Without further ado, let's get into what I've read so far. So starting off with the book I literally just finished before I sat down to film this was Except for Palestine, The Limits of Progressive Politics by Mark Lamont Hill and Mitchell Plitnick. 5 stars. I would highly recommend, very informative, and I think it is a really good shorter nonfiction book if you want to learn more about what's going on in Palestine, but mostly from like how the United States has influenced what's gone on there and how they've supported Israel and the occupation. So you get a little bit of background history. Just a little bit, not too much. It's mostly modern day, what we know from Trump's presidency, Obama's presidency, which was very disappointing. The more I become conscious and aware of the things that go on in this country, the better. It is good, but it also is really enlightening to how Democrats and Republicans are pretty similar. I think what I have really discovered, and I'm learning even more so now with what's going on in Palestine today, is there's a lot of stuff that I feel Republicans do that there's going to be stuff that's going on in the background, obviously, but a lot of the stuff we see it. Those of us who are like leftists or progressive, like we're very like critical of it, which you should be. But what I found also, especially what's been going on since October 7th, is some of the Democratic politicians that we helped elect that maybe we thought were very progressive, they've taken money from certain lobbyist groups. They're just under a different name. So it seems like a lot of the ways that American politicians that are Democrats, sometimes they're very like clear, hey, this is where I stand, but some of those people are doing things in the background. It's a little bit more secretive, and it's very disappointing. So again, you learn a little bit about most of the modern day presidents. Like I said, Trump, Obama, Clinton, George W. Bush, a little bit of Jimmy Carter, because Jimmy Carter was more critical of Israel at the time of his presidency. And all of that to say, I think that this is a really good book, especially to start you off if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about the U.S.'s role in supporting Israel, some of the background history. And as I said in some other videos talking about this book before I had finished it, it'll be interesting if Mark Lamont Hill writes another book, Except for Palestine, except it's during the Biden administration, because there's so many things that I have seen and heard in a month's time. For a person I didn't want to vote for to begin with, I did not want to vote for Biden, to be honest with you. And it's just has really shattered my feelings towards this party that I had voted for. But that is not a bad thing, okay? It is good to learn, and it is good to change your opinions when you are given new information. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that that tends to be an issue that we see, not just in America, but, you know, what I find, especially for like extreme people, sometimes on the right, especially some people who voted for a certain someone, it's okay to be critical. It really is. There's nothing wrong with being critical of people that we voted for or that want to run for office. It's okay. Be critical of them. You have the right to do that. Some of us are steadily always losing our right to be critical of things, but either way, it's important for us to learn, to grow, and if it changes your perspective, it changes your perspective. It's okay. But all that to be said, this was really good. I would highly recommend it. And as I've mentioned before, read everything else by Mark Lamont Hill. I have liked every other book I've read by him, so 5 stars, read it. Next, I listened to Women Without Kids, The Revolutionary Rise of an Unsung Sisterhood by Ruby Warrington. Another 5-star nonfiction book. That was really good, and I would highly recommend listening to it. I think as an audiobook, it was everything that I wanted. I loved the narration. I loved the humor in this book. And I know you're probably thinking, is it funny? How can you make being child-free funny? It can be. Trust me, I promise you. I loved her perspective. I loved what's the right word? I loved the people who were interviewed that gave like their own like personal story about being child-free and even sometimes regretting motherhood. She references this book. I'm pretty sure that she referenced this book in her book, and she also referenced regretting motherhood in her book. I'll put a picture of who wrote that as well. I think that it is really important to read stuff like this because, if you're on the fence about having children, it's okay to question if that's what you really want. My husband and I, we don't want kids. It is what it is. I have a few friends in my life that don't want children either, which makes me really happy because I think sometimes it can probably seem like, ooh, I have to have kids. That's what you do. But we're in our early 30s. My husband's like mid 30s now. And it's okay. It's all right. Everybody has a different life to live. And there are ways that you can give to other people in your life who do have kids. And I think that that's also important. You might never have children in your life. Maybe you have no friends that have kids. It is what it is. But, it's okay. Just because you might not want children doesn't mean that you can't be a good figure in a child's life. You know what I mean? An aunt, an uncle, a friend of the family, so on and so forth. I also really liked her talking about her own personal experience with her mother. I thought that was an interesting experience about how her mom and her parents kind of treated her and her other sibling and how it affected her later in life in her not quite realizing why she felt like she was the way she was. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. Like, she didn't realize at the time that that's what she felt was missing in her life was children, but she didn't want kids, and that was the problem. So she felt like she was missing something, but she wasn't really missing anything, but she had to come to terms with the fact that she didn't want kids. So another 5-star nonfiction book. I would highly recommend it. And the last book I listened to, which is not a nonfiction, I finished it this morning, was Starter Villain by John Scalzi. That was so good. So the audiobook is really fantastic because it is voiced by Will Wheaton, and anybody who has heard Will Wheaton before, maybe you didn't even know it was Will Wheaton. As soon as you hear his voice, you're like, that's Will Wheaton. And I thought it was fantastic. He definitely is good as a narrator for audiobooks. And I think that his brand of, the way that they narrate was just perfect for the main character that we're following in this book. So we basically follow our main character, Charlie. He kind of has lost everything. He's not at the stage in his life that he would like to be. He lives alone in this house that was owned by his father, but his half siblings from another marriage, an older marriage, he's the baby, really don't want him to live there, really don't care for him, don't have anything to do with him. So he's trying to find what works for him. And then he finds out, hey, his uncle is dead. This uncle who he's never had a relationship with. He kind of tried to have one when he was getting married and it didn't really work out. But somehow he is asked to speak at his funeral. And it's a very, very crazy and funny situation for Charlie. I definitely think that the humor in this book is what makes it like, I like the story in general, but the humor is like what makes it just really, really good. And what he comes to find out is that, hey, this mysterious rich uncle that he's never really known is actually kind of like a villain, and his uncle wants him to take over his business. So it is happening like very quickly. It's like within a span of like a week or 2 weeks, everything in Charlie's life changes, and it is so funny. I liked Charlie. Everything that has to do with the cats is so sweet. And the end actually made me tear up. I can't deny that I cried at the end of that book. I am a crybaby. I say that all the time, but just the way that it ended was just like, oh, that's so perfect. I love this. So I would recommend it. This is my first read of John Scalzi, but not the first book I owned. So one of my husband's friends actually gifted me a book. I think it's called Old Man's War. I'm pretty sure it's a completely different, like, type of book altogether. So I know that they're not going to be exactly the same, but I'm interested to read it. So I'm excited. I'm glad this was my first intro to this author. It was very funny. It was very great. And I would recommend, and especially listen to it on audiobook if you can. Okay, so now all the manga. This is the first stack, okay? And I'm going to try to go really quick because, as I've said before, a lot of these, it's like 2nd, 5th, 8th in the series. So there's no point in going into heavy detail on everything. First up, Zom 100 Volume 8. Still really liking this, but it does kind of feel like things happen in the series still, but it's mostly like them traveling and crossing things off of his bucket list. And obviously, it's the bucket list of the dead. We get it, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, but I'm not mad at it. I still really enjoy this series, and I'm going to continue on reading. You know, I just bought another volume, so I have to continue. Kowloon Volume 2. Ooh, now I mentioned that the end of the first volume, I was like, I have to read the next one. I have to keep on with the series because it is not what I thought it was going to be. Basically, we're following our 2 main characters. She is one of them. They work at like a real estate agency, like in a dystopian kind of future-ish situation. And the place they live, Kowloon, is like a really densely populated city. Very hot, very humid. But she seems to be in love with her male coworker. He also seems to be in love with her, but also wants to distance himself from her. And you don't quite know why he's so hot and cold. And at the end of the first volume, you find out why. Not everything, but the way that ends is like, oh my God, cliffhanger. So now the second volume is about kind of showing us a bit of why there's a bit of hot and cold there, but we still don't know exactly why. And it's introduced a villain-esque character who I'm not fucking with. He's looking like a Orochimaru from Naruto, and I don't really fuck with him. So it's been crazy, and I like it. So I can't wait to continue reading it. I already have volume 3 off on the sofa with me, which I'll be reading later because it was worth it. But yeah, all right, let me skip these 4. All right, so volume 2 of The Witch and the Night Will Survive. Really enjoyed this. As I've mentioned, it reminds me of the time I got reincarnated as a slime. Basically, we're following many characters. Our main character here, I think his nickname in it is Augie, but it's Agredios. We're gonna call him Augie or whatever the hell. He comes back to his family's kingdom, village, whatever, and everybody's pretty much dead. He believes that this witch of the wood is who killed everybody in the village, but that's not exactly what happened. There's been a curse upon the land that killed everyone, and apparently it's spreading. He has to rebuild. There's only a few young people that survived, and then some other people from a neighboring village escape what's going on in their village, come here, and now he basically has to rebuild. So it's a good series. I actually really enjoy it, but it is a bit slow going. Don't dislike that though. But if you've read or watched that time I got reincarnated as a slime, you'll know what I'm talking about when it's like, okay, we're kind of seeing day-to-day things like, okay, we have to build this. Who's going to help with that? But I'm liking where the story's going. Volume 3 of Pluto. Oh, got the bookmark in there. Drop the bookmark. Still really enjoying it. Making my very, very slow way through the series. I'm determined not to watch the anime before I finish it. Still really scares me. I don't know why, but now we're discovering a little bit more about some manipulated robots who are wreaking havoc in the community. Let's leave it at that. Volume 2 of Run Away With Me, Girl. Really beautiful. The illustrations in this are absolutely gorgeous. So like, as you can see, here's the cover, but also Here's another illustration, which is the same thing. It's just a bit of a different style. And it's just beautiful. The way that our main characters view each other, especially the one that is so much in love with the other. So I can't remember what the brunette's name is, but she is absolutely in love with the blonde. The way that she sees her and the way that it's drawn, it's like everything is covered in stars and sparkles. She's just so lit from within. It was a really nice series so far. There's only one more volume. I'm a little scared with how the third volume will end because the character that is blonde, she's going to get married to a man. She doesn't really want to though, but she feels like she has to, and she's also pregnant. But he's abusive, so I'm scared that she is going to be harmed in a way that's not going to have her coming back from that. But we shall see. Second volume of The Villainess and the Demon Knight. They're getting freaky almost every other chapter. Good God. But in a way, I really love the way the main character, what's his name? Lucas. He loves Cecilia. I don't like possessiveness, especially male possessiveness of women, but I don't totally hate it in this. It was cute. He's definitely about to beat someone's ass in volume 3 for her. And I can't wait. And I hope he does it. Fuck that man. Fuck him. Next up, I read the first 2 volumes of Tsugumi Project, which I said I was going to do my last video. Really good. I mean, the art style on this is so interesting. I did mention that I really didn't like the way that they drew the one black character so far in this series. It's like they tried... There are moments where it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but then it inevitably gets to be like that really terrible caricature that you see. And like, it just makes me so angry. But I think overall, I do like where the series is going. I have volume 3. I was going to show you a picture, but I can't find exactly what I want to find. That's okay. But so far, it's very, very weird. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea what Tsugumi Project is necessarily. I don't know what weapon destroyed Japan. I have an idea, but I don't know for sure. And then I finally finished Donuts Under a Crescent Moon. So I read volume 3 and volume 4. This was really good. It was a very nice, wholesome GL manga. No spice whatsoever. So if you want spice in it, it's not going to have it. It's very, very wholesome. It's all like soft kisses, soft touches, but overall I really liked that series. I think it was a really good short GL manga for sure. Alrighty, next up, slowly making my way through Fishman Island arc of One Piece. I need to pick up volume 63, and I'm excited because I'm meeting more of the mermaids, and the mermaids are so pretty. Almost done. I have one more volume. I actually considered reading the last volume before I filmed this, but I'm trying to be better because we are in Black Friday week right now, and I don't know that I'll get the time to film as many videos as I'm trying to do today, so you'll hear about it next time. But I read volume 7 and volume 8 of My Love Mix-Up. There's only one volume left. I love this series. I think that this is definitely going to be in my top 10. Once I finish it, I have a feeling it's going to be top 10. It's funny. I love the characters. I just gifted my friend Tamana the first volume because I just was like, I know that she will like this. So Tamana, if you're watching, I hope you do love it. I also really like I'm in Love with the Villainess. I read volumes 3 and volumes 4. I have volume 5. I don't know how long the series is. I know that this also has a light novel, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get into that. But oh man, this volume was so sad. I did not expect it to take the turn that it did. I think that the way that this series is going, I'm really liking. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I think that it is really cute. It's like GL, but like nothing has quite happened yet. So it'll be interesting what happens with our main character and my other main character. We shall see. All right, Imakoi volume 3, still continuing on with this series. Definitely taking my slow time. It's not my favorite compared to the other like high school rom-coms that I've been reading, but I still like it. So I'm enjoying it. I'm going to be picking up volume 4. I have it, so I might as well read the damn thing. Volume 8 of Kaiju number 8. still really good. Yeah, we're getting more powerful every day. Volume 55 of Bleach, liking where this is going. And then finally got through volume 5 and 6 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which was the Goodwill event. Like, basically, this is the end of the Goodwill event, and then volume 7 is like the aftermath of what's going on. So yeah, that is everything I've read so far in the month of November. It's been a really good reading month. I'm very, very happy with it. After this, I'm going to sit right back on the sofa with my dog and try to knock out the other huge stack of manga I have to read, because, you know, as a mood reader, I just pick things out all the time and I don't stop. But hey, it is like I have a TBR. It's just forever changing. It is what it is. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video. If you like the video, please like the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on other social media platforms. It's in the description box down below. And thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.